Cody, I came up with your new Top 100 Games theme song.
Oh, great, let's hear it.
All right, here it goes. Some people think that it would be lame sitting around reviewing games. Cody does that and ain't it a shame? Now my friends, it's time for Cody's Top 100 Games. What do you think?
I don't like it.
Ah, he likes it!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that can't understand why war games ceased to be popular in Germany after 1945. Ladies and gentlemen, today we continue with my top 100 games of all time as of August of 2016. Today we are going to go ahead and take a look at my numbers 20 through 11. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming down to the wire here. We are getting close to the end of the list, and I'm very excited. So we're going to go ahead. Again, my top 20 through number 11, or 11, as I call it. So let's get started. Number 20. This is a game that did fall a little bit. It was my 16, but nevertheless is still a tremendous game. It's a game that's good on its own, but honestly, the more expansions you add to it, the better it becomes. I have been very impressed with the expansions that really enrich this game and bring out, I think, what are its best qualities. This is Firefly, the game from Gale Force 9. Firefly, the game, is an open, kind of a sandbox game set in the Firefly universe where it's pick up and deliver, but there's combat. There's all sorts of missions and different fun and interesting things you can do. You can do things illegally and risk being caught by the Federation. There's also reavers out there that are going to try to trap you and do all sorts of nasty things to you. It's really fun. It's a lot like a game I had mentioned previously called Zia, or Zia, Legends of a Drift System. And initially I thought Zia was a better game. The more I play them, though, the more convinced I am Firefly edges it out by a hair in kind of this sandbox space category. Really enjoy it. Again, I'm a huge fan of the TV show, and that may color my impressions just a little bit. I did love the TV show. The movie was okay, but I really, really, really loved the game. It's a lot of fun. I want to play it again. Last, I think, 2 Christmases we got together and played it. I hope we get together and do that again this time. But that is Firefly, the game from Gale Force 9. My number 20 was my number 16. Number 19 is a game that fell a little bit. I did have it at 15, but I'm going to lump the 2 Legendary Encounters games together, Alien and Predator. I'll even put in Firefly there, too. The Legendary Firefly, even though that was a game I played after I made the list. But the Legendary Encounters games take the basic idea of the engine from the Legendary game, the Marvel game, and it kind of expands on it. It makes it grow, and it makes it better. The cards come at you face down. You don't know what's coming. There's a suspense to this game, a real tension, and it's a lot of fun. These are not easy games to win. They're cooperative. At least mostly they are. You can play a competitive version in the Predator game. But they are tremendously fun, and I freaking love them. There's a little bit of setup and takedown, but it's not as bad as you initially think it might be, and they're worth it. They're absolutely worth it. I love Legendary Encounter games from Upper Deck. So these games, I did have them at number 15, and now they are my 19. My number 18 moved up 1 point. They were my 19 last time. Again, it's a couple of games that got thrown in there together. This is The Resistance and The Resistance Avalon. Now, these are 2 games. They're essentially the same game. Now they've made kind of some new packs for the original Resistance, which makes it pretty much like Avalon. But these are games where you are just trying to figure out who among you can be trusted. And you go on missions where you vote to see who goes on the mission, and by voting you can kind of tip you off to who is evil and who is not evil. Really a lot of fun. Played this again just I think it was on the 4th of July with some friends, and man, it's a lot of fun. Really love the Resistance and the Resistance Avalon. We actually did a playthrough here on the Discriminating Gamer probably about 2 years ago now, and it was great night. Great fun. Really like the Resistance. This is from Indie Cards and Boards. The Resistance and the Resistance Avalon. These are my number 18, and they were my number 19. My number 17, again, two games I'm going to put into the same category because they are so similar. They're different enough. There is some nuance there that I do like one better than the other, I think, generally speaking. But very similar. And these are, this is Twilight Struggle and 1989 Dawn of Freedom from GMT Games. I said I like one more than the other. Okay, I take that back. I like the theme of one more than the other and kind of the grand strategic everything thematically that the Cold War was in Twilight Struggle, but I also really, really enjoyed the combat, I guess is what you'll call it, in 1989, where you're competing, how you play cards, where you play a card and the other guy's got to match it, and you go back and forth like that. Reminds me kind of the mechanic, the combat mechanic from Hannibal. Really a lot of fun, both games. These games are just brilliant because I've said 100 times on the show, thousands of times, tough decisions are the root of any good game, the foundation of any good game. And these games, I can't think of any other game that consistently makes you make really hard decisions like these two games do, because you have to play cards, and a lot of times these cards are going to help your enemy and hurt you, and you have to play them, and it's how you play them, and when you can use the safety valves like the space race to not play them. Really good, really fun games. That's from GMT Games, Twilight Struggle, 1989, Dawn of Freedom. That is my number 17. They were my number 18. My number 16 is a game that fell just a few points. It was my number 12. This is a game that has is one of my favorite production games of all time. The production is absolutely beautiful. That's a really fun game to boot. This is Cthulhu Wars from Peterson Games. Cthulhu Wars is this brilliant game that, where you look at a lot of games set in the Cthulhu universe, it's about preventing Cthulhu from returning. This is a game where he's already come back and he's mad and he's fighting all of the other monsters, and it's this war game, but it's quick. I mean, it plays 60 to 90 minutes and it's fun, and it forces combat because you got to complete all these spells, and that's going to make you come into contact with your opponents. Really a lot of fun. Like I say, the minis, the biggie minis, are absolutely beautiful. Really enjoy them. Really enjoy this game. This is Cthulhu Wars from Peterson Games. My 16 was my number 12. And for 15, speaking of Cthulhu, Eldritch Horror. This game did move down a little bit. It was my number 11, but this is a game from Fantasy Flight Games that is where you're trying to prevent Cthulhu from coming back. You're going all over the world, kind of in these Indiana Jones type adventures, trying to use various skills, rolling die, in order to stop Cthulhu from coming back. And not just Cthulhu, but some of the other elder gods as well. I used to play a game called Fortune and Glory quite a bit from Flying Frog Productions. Eldritch Horror totally killed it. It was similar enough that it made Fortune and Glory just not that much fun anymore, and Eldritch Horror is just held up, and it's had more and more expansions come out that each bring new and fun and interesting things to it. I really like Eldritch Horror quite a bit. It also killed Arkham Horror. It didn't kill Arkham Horror for me, but I played Arkham Horror very little since I started playing Eldritch Horror. So this is, again, from Fantasy Flight Games, Eldritch Horror. My number 15 was my number 11. My number 14 is a game that has been in my top 10 for the last 2 years. It is a game that I love. I love tremendously, but it theme-wise and play-wise, it just got edged out by other games earlier from this year and last year. And so while I love this game, I'm playing it less and less. And this is my number 14, Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures, was my number 5. Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures is a great game using the flight path system, where you take on the role of Rebel Alliance starfighters versus Imperial starfighters. We've got all the ships here: X-Wings, TIE Fighters, A-Wings, TIE Interceptors, Corellian Corvettes. They came out with the Imperial Raider, which is a big ship. It's really a lot of fun. It's kind of getting to the point where there's so much variety and so much choice, it's almost become self-defeating for me. I'm no longer collecting it. I find as they've gotten further away from the movies, I'm less interested. I'll probably pick up the Rogue One stuff, I'm thinking. But just generally speaking, it's a lot of fun. I'm just not invested in it as much as I used to. But this is Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures. That is my 14, was my number 5. My number 13 is a game that this edition is new to the list this year. It's second edition. The first edition was 63 last year. The first edition is no longer on the list, but the second edition is number 13 because it is absolutely brilliant. It is so much fun. Played this first time a few months ago, right before I made the list, and it blew me away. I played several games, and I got to be honest, I've said this a lot of times on the show. I'm not a big fan of solo games. I like playing games for the social component. But this is a game that I don't mind playing solo. In fact, I kind of like playing it solo. Or with 2 players. To me, it's fun that way. But this is Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight Games. Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight Games is a game that uses an app. And a lot of people poo-poo using an app. I do not poo-poo it. The opposite of poo-poo. I oop it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. The rooms, the mansions are procedurally generated. The monsters come out. Different things are going to cue different events. I thoroughly enjoy this. I think it is so much fun. And those people who are not happy because it's got an app just don't know what they're missing. This game is not only a fun game, it is light years ahead of the first game. The first edition of Mansions of Madness was fun. I liked it a lot, but the setup was killer. The setup could take up to an hour, and if you screw one little thing up, you mess up the entire game experience for everybody. That happened the last time I played it. Made one little teensy tiny mistake, and it kind of ruined some stuff for people. So the second edition with the app is phenomenal. It is so much fun. It really is, and it's genuinely creepy. It's you play it and you're like, ooh. I mean, there's a real creepiness to this game. Derek, a friend of mine, he played it with his kids, and he said it got too scary for them. Kids. Anyway, check this game out. If you get a chance, play it. You'll really love it. Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight Games. That is my number 13. First edition last year was my number 63. My number 12 is new to the list this year. This is a game from GMT Games, a war game, but it's kind of an unusual war game. This is Talon. Talon from GMT Games builds upon some other games I'll be talking about later. But Talon is a great space tactical war game. You've got these ships that are giant, really big hexes. You're moving them across this, these space hex spaces. And you're actually using dry erase markers to write on your hexes. You're keeping track of your weapon systems, but you have power curves. And depending on what your power curves are, you're going to activate different systems and take actions at different times during the phases of a turn. And it's brilliant the way this game works. Really like it. It's a good way that simulates kind of big, heavy capital ship engagements, and it's tremendous fun. I really, really like Talon quite a bit. Played it a few times now, and it's a game that, again, every time I play it, I'm just so invested in it. Freaking love Talon. So this is Talon from GMT Games. This is my number 12, new to the list this year. Finally, my number 11. This is a game that it's been in my top 10 the last 2 years, and I thought for sure there's no way this one would be knocked out of top 10. But it has been, and that kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because I love this game so much. But this game is Conquest of Nerath from Wizards of the Coast. And Conquest of Nerath is this kind of Dungeons & Dragons version of Axis and Allies. It's great. You've got 4 different factions competing from different sides of the board. You know, you've got for air power, you've got dragons, right? But you've got all sorts of monsters and elementals and different funky things going on. But even as you're fighting these battles against each other, and you can form alliances or not, you can go into these dungeons and attempt to gain treasure and other fun things. Conquest of Nerath is just a brilliant light fantasy war game. I love it a lot. And again, I'm a little teary-eyed that it is no longer in the top 10, but we all must progress. And that means there's some really fun things coming up in the top 10 that are new to the list. That's for later. All right, that is Conquest of Nerath from Wizards of the Coast. My number 11 was, last year, my number 9. Well, that is it, and we are near the end of the list. Just one more to go, my top 10 coming up before too long. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been tremendously fun for me, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Now, I will say top 10 lists, when you get to the top 10 out of a top 100, you're going to see a lot of the same games you've seen in the last previous years, but you may see some new surprises, so I'm excited about that. But please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the list. I'm always eager to hear what you have to say and where you put your games up against mine. So please leave a comment here on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. And now, once again, probably my favorite part of the top 10 lists are viewer mail, because this is where I get to hear from you and hear what your questions are. I really, really do love this. As I say, we get sacks and sacks of mail, more than we could ever possibly answer, that are dropped off to our headquarters every day, and I'm going to go ahead and read one for you right now. I love this. I do. I love it. Dear Cody, I'm a big fan of the recent Netflix reboot of Full House, and I